Hailing frequencies open. Welcome back to Trek Retrek here on Geek the F Out. I'm Captain Johnny.
Ow. And I'm Ensign Kayla. Why do I hurt myself every time I do that? I don't know my own strength.
You gotta leave your hand cupped a little bit to...
I feel like that makes it worse because then... Oh, I guess maybe not.
But it pushes the air out more. That's like if you clap like this.
Also, like my boob gets in the way, so.
Well, there's that. Or if you clap like this. See the difference?
Trying to make fart sounds with my hand. It's not working. I've never been able to do it. Welcome to the show, everyone. Where we make fart sounds with our hands. Okay, we get it. You can do it. Very good for you. Put your fart hands away.
We're here to talk about
computers.
Episode 53, Season 2, Episode 24.
Episode 24.
The Ultimate Computer.
We're talking about pooters, baby.
Yes. TVGuide.com says, the M5 computer, an experimental unit capable of running Starship by itself, is installed in the Enterprise and given a trial run during war games. At which point, it decides they are no longer games.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun!
And who saw that coming? No one. So this is a totally new concept to Star Trek with having like a sentient superpower computer. So that was very cool. Jokes. We've seen this concept a million times. As soon as I saw the title, I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, can they come up with something else? Like, I don't know. I feel like also now with fucking AI and the fact that we already have robots doing a lot of things, this just like really starts to hit close to home. Like, it's scary. Like, this is like an episode of Black Mirror, essentially. But it's not intending to be an episode of Black Mirror. You know?
Yep.
Anyways,
For sure.
Shall we get into it?
Yes, we shall. Let's.
Okay. So the Enterprise arrives at the space station when Commodore Wesley beams on board and lets them know there's going to be war games and Kirk is going to be the fox because he's foxy. And the Commodore tells him he's been chosen to test the M5 supercomputer and he will only have a crew of 20 people and Dr. Daystrom, right?
Yeah, Dr. Richard Daystrom.
Yes, Daystrom will be on board as well, who created the supercomputer. And Bones really does not like this idea at all. And we have Kirk, Bones, and Spock go to engineering, where they meet Dr. Daystrom, which, yay, person of color, woot woot. Even though he ends up being kind of a bad guy, kind of.
Dude was tall, too. Like,
yeah! Oh my god, I
so
noticed
much
that
taller
too.
than everybody else.
When like in one of the first scenes, like when he's on the left and Kirk's on the right, I'm like, oh my god, it's like Tom Cruise standing next to any other actor. I only think of that because unfortunately through the interwebs and social media, I have now seen that Tom Cruise was at Taylor Swift's concert, even though I don't follow that much of either of them. And he's standing in front of like Travis Kelce, who's a football player, and a bunch of other tall people. And he's just like, he looks like a child. It's pretty fucking funny. So that's why I'm making that comparison. Anyways, so Kirk approves that the computer can be hooked up to the ship's power banks. And Bones is still concerned that if it doesn't work, then there's not going to be enough men on board to run the ship, which, valid concern. Especially because this is like the first time in the field that it's being tested. I feel like you should have some better backups, maybe.
Yeah.
And Kirk is worried about this taking away people's jobs, stuff that gives them purpose. And Kirk and Bones leave, and Kirk has a bad feeling about the machine, saying it's dangerous, and wonder if he's just worried about losing a job to the computer. But Bones reassures him that it's different being a captain, and I'm like, as we see in this episode, it kind of can replace the captain. But it's weird in this scene because he repeats this question twice to Bones. I don't know if you noticed that at all. No?
No, I don't
Yes?
think so.
Maybe?
I don't think I noticed.
Yeah. I mean, Bones says something different in response, but he pretty much asked him twice. He's like, am I worried about losing my job to a computer?
Oh, yeah. I think he's like that, and then asked if he was petty.
Maybe. I don't know, but it pretty much seemed like the same question twice. So they run a few tests with the computer, and Spock agrees that they should continue doing these tests. And they orbit a planet that has life forms when some power starts to go out in the ship. And the M5's recommendation of how to proceed, and the difference is in the landing party personnel between the M5's recommendation and Kirk's recommendation. And it picks an ensign, geologist, and not Kirk and McCoy, because apparently they are non-essential personnel, which you can tell Kirk really doesn't like that. And also it picks a ensign geologist instead of the other one, but I guess he has been to that planet before, so that does make sense. But I don't know, I feel like maybe send both geologists then, to have the experience of being on the planet and like the experience in general.
Yeah.
So always good to have a second set of eyes.
I also thought, like, okay, so if that dude is, and like, because Kirk says he's an ensign, this is his first tour of duty, like, wouldn't you want him to go down to start getting experience? Like, send both and have him also shadow the more experienced one.
If there's only 20 people there, why did they choose an ensign to stay behind?
Yeah, why did they have 2 geologists? I don't know. Yeah.
Anyways, so
apparently they're not non-essential personnel according to the M5.
Yeah. Well, that was for beaming down, so that might have been different. So Scotty realizes that the M5 is turning off systems all over the ship, and Dr. Daystrom says it's simply shutting off unneeded areas, which is what I figured was happening.
I was gonna ask, like, it makes sense. Like, there's nobody, like, besides the fact that they were the living areas. Like, you've got 20 people on this ship that normally has 400 on it. Not every deck is good. I don't remember. I think there's more than 20 decks on the ship. Like, some of them are going to be empty and don't need to be running power.
Yeah.
Like it made sense to me. Yeah.
The fact that they were getting freaked out by it, I was like, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid to be wasting that energy. So Spock notices that the M5 is drawing out more power than it was before, and Dr. Daystrom says it's pulling more energy because it's working more, just like humans do. But Spock and Kirk question it because, it's not a human. When suddenly there's a vessel paralleling their course, and then a second, which turns out to be an unscheduled M5 drill. They get attacked and hit one vessel, and the other one flies away. Or I guess they do end up hitting both vessels, and the other one flies away. Spock says the M5 reacted better than humans, but ultimately says that humans can't be replaced, especially Kirk. Then we have Commodore Wesley says, Commodore Wesley says the M5 did well, and so did Captain Dunsel, which Kirk walks away, and Spock tells Bones that it means a part that doesn't serve a purpose, which I'm like, ouch. But also, like, he's a Commodore, like, that's not really cool to be calling him that. Not very professional, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in front of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just not very professional. So Bones brings shots to Kirk. He says he's never felt this way before, which I'm like, bro, you kind of have with other computers. But I get that it is a little different because it's like making the right predictions for the ship. But like there's been other times when things have controlled the ship and like he's dealt with other supercomputers, so it just felt similar enough to me that he might have had similar feelings before, you know?
Yeah, but those were all like unintentional, like malevolent entities taking over the ship. This is Starfleet like testing this to see if they can replace crew on starships with computers.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like we're gonna start using ChatGPT or all different sorts of AIs to do different things that
Yay. So there's all of a sudden an unmanned ore ship that used to be a Federation ship. I was very confused by this. But it's not a drill. But the problem is the M5 keeps the ship moving towards it, and they're not able to change it, and it fires on the vessel and destroys it, which, once again, no one predicted this of, you know, supercomputer going rogue.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what the reasoning was, and I couldn't, and that's because they never said it. They never gave any reason for why. Like, I was hoping that there would be a thing like, well, the M5 detected this like leak of matter, antimatter, and if the ship went and docked at its destination, it would explode while they were offloading the ore and kill, you know, hundreds of people. Yeah. So it saved a bunch of lives by destroying it. But they just didn't give us any explanation for it at all.
Yeah, and they started to question, like, why is it attacking an ore ship? Like, maybe there was some hidden agenda. But, yeah, they never explained it.
Nope.
So Kirk tells Daystrom to disengage the computer. Luckily, there weren't any crew on that ship, but Kirk says they are done with these M5 tests. And they go to turn off, but it's created a force field around it, and Scotty in the red shirt try to turn it off, and it lasers the red shirt, which, once again, who saw that coming? Everyone. Daystrom,
I didn't.
Daystrom says that the ensign simply got in the way. I'm like, do you have zero humanity, sir? Like, what the fuck? And unfortunately now it has unlimited power. They meet in the briefing room. Unlimited power! Yep. They meet in the briefing room, and Spock has an idea for him and Scotty to try. They all wonder why Daystrom didn't see this coming. Like, literally, the rest of us did.
Yep.
And Daystrom says it's learning to defend itself. Men no longer need to die in space, and they can do other important things instead. And he wants to save life instead of ending life, which, like, okay, but, like, I don't know. Do more research first. Bones tells Kirk that maybe Daystrom is making the M5 this way. So then Daystrom tries to stop Spock and Scotty from turning on manual control. But Sulu and Chekhov says it's not responding anyways, and Spock realizes the M5 wanted them to waste their time trying to do that, which is terrifying. So Kirk then interrogates Dr. Daystrom, says he used human synapses to think like a human, and then we find out that he used his own synapses to create the N5, or the engrams. I think we find that out later, though. There's 4 Federation ships approaching for the war games, but M5 doesn't know it's a game. And Daystrom's like, no, it should know. And they're like, it literally just shot that ship for no fucking reason. How is it gonna know? So M5 starts actually shooting at the ships with full lasers, and the Lexington FaceTimes them and says 53 people have been killed already. And this is when Daystrom reveals that he used his own engram for the M5. And Kirk and Spock have the idea to talk to the unit and reason to it, since it knows that Dr. Daystrom is not a threat, which, like, where did you get this idea? And they intercept Wesley's communication to the Federation that rhymes, that they need to destroy the Enterprise. So Daystrom tries to tell M5 that it needs to stop, it's murdering people, but then he starts to break down and reveal he really wanted to prove himself and other people took credit for the work, and is just, like, totally falling apart. So Spock nerve pinches him. He's like, get the fuck out of here, you're doing nothing. And Kirk then tries to reason with M5, which I'm like, drink every time. This is how they conquer the computer, is Kirk fucking talking to it.
Yep.
And telling it that it's murdered people and that the penalty is death, and it powers down to commit suicide. But, you know, they still can't do anything with the ship. So the Federation is about to attack when Kirk tells Scotty to power down the ship, which gets the other ships to stand down. Kirk says he knew Bob Wesley and gambled on his humanity, compassion, which is something machines don't have. And we end the episode with Spock's joke about bones and engrams on a machine being entertaining.
Yeah.
And on a light note, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts, questions, theories?
No, it's pretty straightforward, right? Like, it is interesting that the themes of it are still relevant, like 60 years later, in a different way. Now with everybody, like, talking about AI and whatnot, machine learning and whatever. It's interesting that it's still topical. All these years later, but it's still
really
pretty straightforward story for that trope of a machine taking over for people and then going rogue. And,
like, we didn't see that coming. So typical. But yeah, it was at least somewhat entertaining, even though we knew where it was going, and, you know, having it kind of using the synapses of Dr. Daystrom. That was a little bit different concept. So, yeah. Do you want to do lines and moments?
Yeah, what do you have for lines and moments?
I got a couple lines. I have when Bones says, "I'd resign because everyone else on board would be circuits and memory banks." You know the type, Spock.
Yeah, similar to that when they're leaving, and he says, "Did you see the love light in Spock's eyes? The right computer finally came along."
Yep, that was my next one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have one more. Oh no, I don't have another line, but the last scene with Spock's joke about Bones and Groans, that was funny.
I also liked when Bones says, "Please, Spock, do me a favor and don't say it's fascinating." And Spock says, "No, but it is interesting."
Yep. That was funny.
That was funny too. All right, well that does it for those. So that will bring us to That's What They Said.
Okay. I guess I'll go first this time.
Yes, you can lead us off.
Okay. All you have to do is sit back and let the machine do the work.
I can be of assistance.
You can feel her.
We're ready, Captain.
Pull out the plug, Spock.
Yay!
Yay. That's what they said. It's for season 2, episode 24, The Ultimate Computer, aka The Ultimate Pooter.
The Ultimate Pooter.
Pooter.
All right, that will bring us to episode trivia from Memory Alpha. This episode was a social commentary on the American job losses caused by increased mechanization during the 60s. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Like they may have had a few episodes like this now.
Yeah. Not hard to figure out. James Doohan provided the voices of both the M5 computer and the unseen Commodore Enright. I believe is the one that calls from Starfleet at the end and says attack is authorized, like destroy the Enterprise by any means necessary.
Yeah.
This is the only episode in which Spock's library computer spits out a tape. In this case, M5's readout of the Alpha Carinae 2 and landing party recommendations. Like the yellow tape, like...
It's never spit out a tape?
Apparently not.
It's only
like
had
always
tapes
been
put in it?
Well, it hasn't
so normally
automatically...
it's bottom, and then this episode's at the top. Is what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Just clarifying.
This is the fourth and final time Kirk talks a computer to death.
Oh my god, thank Jesus.
He previously used this skill in The Changeling, The Return of the Archons, and I Mud. This is the final time that Kirk talks a computer to death.
I feel like he's done it more than that.
No, that's it. That's the 4.
I don't know about that. All right. Anyways.
That's
it. Is that it? Oh,
that's it.
Okay. Fascinating. I'll say it because Spock couldn't say it.
Yeah, there you go. All right. That will bring us to spoilers without context. Since you went first for That's What They Said, we will bring my spoilers without context up on the screen. So I had to use the cover for War Games, the movie. Because
War Games.
Because War Games. Because of the Captain Dunsel thing, I had to use the dunce cap because that's what I automatically thought of.
I thought of that too.
And then I had to use Dusty Rhodes, the American Dean Dusty Rhodes, in his famous Hard Times program. Hard times are when a man has worked 30 years. 30 years, they give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, your computer took your job, daddy. That's hard times. That's hard times. And then the Matrix machines.
Okay.
Because, I mean, that one should be self-explanatory, too.
Yes. Yes, indeedy. Very good.
A computer took your job, daddy. If you will. That's not a good Dusty Rhodes impression. I know.
I wouldn't know.
I'll show you later. So we'll bring Ensign Kayla's spoilers without context up on the screen.
Just. So I did a kaleidoscope because the computer, when it the circular part of that would have all the images coming across, it kind of reminded me of a kaleidoscope.
I was wondering what the kaleidoscope was for, and that makes sense.
Yeah. And War Games, because War Games.
Oh,
and Kirk,
who would have thought?
Yeah. And Kirk talking a computer to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a medical... there's a better term for this. Basically a surgery machine that, you can control with your hands. Yeah.
Robot.
To show that, that robots will take over our jobs pretty soon. And they already have.
Yeah.
That's it.
Very, very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
War Games is just, man, who would have thought? That's a great one. That's an awesome pick. I never would have. Oh, wait. I used it too. Okay.
So good.
Before we rank the episode, and to Kayla, why don't you tell the folks what's happening?
Yeah, so you can follow us on social media at GTFO channel. If you want to email us, our email is channelgtfo@gmail.com. It is the reverse of our Instagram handle. And tomorrow we'll be talking about Lust Season 1 with special guest Ralph. So very excited for that. We'll be starting at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. So make sure to tune into that. And every Thursday, Trek Retrek, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern as usual. Make sure to smack that like, smack that subscribe, and smack that bell icon. Smack, smack, smack. Smack that all on the floor. Smack that. Give me some more. Smack that till you get some. Smack that. Oh. I can't do any more.
Okay.
We're going to get penalized.
And to Kayla, how do you rank the ultimate computer?
I really don't want to give it Ensign since we just gave last episode Ensign.
Okay.
Because it wasn't as bad as last episode, but like, because we've seen this trope so many times before now, it's like you really don't need to see it again. And I'm not sure what the best version of it has been, but I don't think it's this one. So I'm gonna give it Lieutenant, just because it's not the worst. Like, it's still watchable. Yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm tempted to give it Commander because of Daystrom, but I don't want to overinflate his importance, so I think I'm going to go Lieutenant as well, because Daystrom never shows up again. His name is mentioned a lot in future installments, because like the primary scientific institute for the United Federation of Planets is called the Daystrom Institute. Like, it's named after him.
Oh, interesting.
But that's it. That's more of like an Easter egg than anything else. Like, he's not important at all to that. It's just that you'll hear things about the Daystrom Institute in the future, and it's just their scientific like research facilities. So it's not really that important that you know him and his story and where it came from. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Tempted to do Commander because of him, but I don't think it's that important. So, Lieutenant.
Okay.
Yeah, watch it
So
if you have time. If you want to know more about Daystrom, yeah, unanimous Lieutenant.
Nice.
Our next episode, we only have 2 left in season 2. We're almost done with the second season.
That's crazy tits.
The next episode is Bread and Circuses. IMDb.com says the Enterprise crew investigates the disappearance of a ship's crew on a planet that is a modern version of the Roman Empire.
Dun, dun, dun. That sounds interesting, actually. We'll see if it actually is or isn't.
We'll
I feel
see.
like I've said that before, and it's like, nah. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Whether you're watching us on the premiere or replay, so glad to have you here. God, that sounds so bad. There's no other way to say it. Anyways, until next time, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.